So as we talk about Uber,
Right.
is this a situation where investors want to get in on the IPO on this day? I only say that because we talked about Lyft in the past, and we know what happened with Lyft. Massive spike on the first day, and it's pretty much been down ever since.
LinkedIn went public before Facebook, and LinkedIn was a bust. I don't like these comparisons, and I actually don't think Uber and Lyft are going to remain good comps for very much longer. Uber is taking its business in directions that Lyft will not, cannot, in my opinion.
And like what?
Well, logistics, freight, delivering food, God knows what else they think of. I think Lyft, if you want to call it a pure play, Lyft looks, just to me, looks like an overcapitalized taxi and limousine service. I don't want anything to do with it. Uber, I might get interested in. I'm not buying on the IPO. I did not put in an allocation.
Why not?
It's just not what I do. So we get questions from clients all the time when there's a hot IPO. Hey, why aren't we allocated? You know, these are people with $5, $10 million. They could get in if they wanted. Why aren't we doing this? On a case-by-case basis, every IPO has to be evaluated. You cannot look at IPOs like an investable asset class. And even if you did, the results aren't pretty. We talked about Jay Ritter, the professor in Florida, who's got a database of IPO returns. Over 3 years, from 1980 through last year, over 3 years of the IPO's lifespan, the average one underperforms the S&P by 17.5%. That's atrocious. And even if you right size, even if you say, well, IPOs are small, okay, when you look at the average IPO performance over 3 years versus companies of a similar size, it's still a negative 7% underperformance versus that group. So you say to yourself, well, if the average IPO is not a big winner relative to the market or severely underperforms, what makes me think I have the correct information to pick the winners from the losers? Aren't there people with degrees from Wharton spending all their time trying to do this? So I don't think it's something that you have to do to make money in the market. Now, if you're good at it, or you have connections, or you set aside 5% of your portfolio and you say, you know what, I want to play. When Uber comes out, I get it, they're losing money, blah, 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 I don't care, I want in. I have no problem with that.
And I can lose 5%.
Yeah, do it.
Right.
Do it. Listen, we're not that far from a world where everyone in America has prop bets going on for sporting events, and they're going to do it on their phone. Like that. This is where we're headed. So if you're going to do a prop bet on the stock market, why not take a shot on a Lyft or an Uber, knowing what the risk is going in?
Did Uber wait too long to go public?
So I've heard people argue both sides of that. I would say probably they should have, like a year or two ago, but they couldn't because they had cultural issues. I mean, what was going on with Travis, you would not have been able to do a roadshow during a period like that.
No, of course.
You had a revolt. Some of the venture people had to like almost physically push him out. It ended well. He's there today. Everyone's happy. Everyone's
But off on the sidelines. It's very interesting, right? Travis Kalanick, one of the co-founders of Uber.
How would you feel?
Right. Still on the board,
right.
in a way, but he was not on the podium during the opening bell to welcome Uber to the stock exchange, and he's off on the sidelines.
I'm going to break some news for you right now. It reminds me very much of Steve Jobs and Apple, and Dara could maybe screw up 1 quarter. If he screws up 2 quarters, Travis coming back. All right, I'm just giving you my opinion.
Sure.
I don't know this for sure. That's how I think. Look, it's not like he killed somebody. They just didn't like what he was doing with user data. They didn't like the way that he was going into territories where it was illegal to operate, and he kind of just forced his way in and said, let them stop me. That's very Jobsian. And so I like this idea that you've got a CEO in waiting. I don't think it's a negative externality. They're not fighting with each other. Travis isn't going to the media second guessing, oh, look what the company's doing, I would have done it differently. None of that is happening. But you have Dara's got a lot of respect from the investor class. Clearly, he's got time. He's keeping expectations tamped down. But if he blows 2 quarters in a row, the Travis talk will start, and I think that's actually a positive.